All right, what's good, everybody? Am I too old to say what's good? You know I am. Week 6. You're busy. You're busy writing the Digital Sabbath essay because you've planned the Digital Sabbath, you've taken the Digital Sabbath, you've reflected upon the experience. Now it's time to take all that knowledge that you've gained throughout this process and put it to work for what I hope to be a very successful second essay in College Comp 2. So I've got a good bit of text up here for you to read. I'm not going to read this all word for word, but I don't use pink, or purple rather, and I don't, or is that pink? I'm not sure. And I don't use exclamation points. So if you are all ahead of the game, if I can look at your essay any time before Friday, boy, you and me are going to be friends. So just let me know if that's at all a possibility in your world. Some of you are already writing this essay as I record this, which I'm super grateful for. Let me know if you have 400 plus words of your rough draft before Friday. Please let me know. Oh, I got an email. All right. We start the research project next week, so start thinking about topics. The whole point of the reflection portion of this final draft is meant to get you thinking in that direction anyway, but never too soon to start brainstorming topics for your research project, that big 10-page paper. Okay, so this week you need to watch the screencast. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up with the tips and suggestions, so we'll return to that. Share your essay 2 rough draft with your peer review partner. Your partner list is, I believe it is right here. There we go. You've seen this document, I hope. Don't forget to share your document with your peer review partner. You have to have at one outside source for your essay 2 final draft. Here's a nice list of sources all the way down from from I to XV, III. I don't know that's many. 18 different sources. So use one of those, find one on your own. I don't care. You have to have an outside source though. So here's this list again. Hopefully you're very familiar with it. All right, so 5 p.m. Wednesday, February 19th. I'm very nervous giving you that much time because I know some of you will use as an excuse to wait until the very last minute to write your essay 2 rough draft, which will limit your peer review partner's ability to give you comments. So if you are in this boat, if your peer review partner has given you very little time to give your peer review comments, just shoot me an email, let me know, and I will sort of confirm that you have a little more time to work on it. And my apologies. If someone does that to you, I'll do my best not to make sure that you don't get that person again, because that person's not being very, let's say, academically responsible. Okay, so hopefully Thursday then you'll have plenty of time to, by Thursday you'll have plenty of time to complete your peer review of your partner's draft. Please keep the following guidelines in mind. These are, there's much new stuff this semester, so hope you'll read this again. 6 comments. Okay, only 2 of which should be grammar or word choice or sort of, super hyper-focused and micro comments as opposed to macro or big picture comments. All right, you need to include links, okay, and a 150-plus word note to the writer. The writer, you are to not resolve any comments until I've made a pass it to rough draft, and also to reply to at least 3 comments that your peer reviewers made. I'm trying to foster, conversation and sort of, I don't know, the cheesy word is warmth. I'm trying to kind of create some warmth amongst the peer review partners. So that this assignment is designed to help foster that. So where I got down here. All right, no lie. I went easy on many of you with peer review because we had so many snow days and weather issues, and I don't care if Snowmageddon 14 drops on us again next week. I am going to enforce these peer review guidelines much more strictly than I have in the past. So if you're bad at peer review, again, I'm just going to make a list of people that are bad at peer review, that are dramatic, that turn in, that don't have their rough drafts done in time, that don't share documents, that don't make significant comments, that very obviously take a very light pass over the essay once and don't provide substantial feedback. I'm going to make a list of those people, and for the research project, I'm going to figure out what to do with you all, and it's not going to be something pleasant. So there's your weekly threat from me. I hate to give them, but I don't want to be unclear at the same time. What else? So then by Monday the 24th, 10 a.m., complete your essay 2 final draft. I remember I always have revision history to go back to, so I will make sure that I'll whatever shape your essay's in by 10 a.m. Monday the 24th, that's what I will grade. Okay, so I want to talk now about this Digital Sabbath essay tips and suggestions. So I don't know, maybe this font will change by the time you see it. I was trying to experiment with different fonts. The big part of this essay, of essay 2, is the practice of primary research. okay, of seeing for yourself. Such an important contribution to what I want to consider your ongoing understanding of the nature of research and how research gets not only disseminated, but also how it gets created. You're creating your own research, which is a really cool idea. You're going to do it again for the research project. That's going to be a component of that larger essay, is that you're going to have to do some primary research for that as well, whether you do a questionnaire or another interview or another observation, or your first interview for many of you. Some of you are doing interviews for the Digital Sabbath. And my point being that you're seeing for yourself, and you have to keep a good record, just like your observation notes were directly tied to the success of your first essay. Your excuse me, your Digital Sabbath plan, your Digital Sabbath log, all those record-keeping devices that I've been encouraging you to be very thorough in, they're going to be directly tied to how effective your Digital Sabbath essay is. So what I got in mind for this essay are kind of three sections. I don't see this as a formula, don't take this as a paint-by-numbers type situation, but I want the following elements to be satisfied. You need to provide, first of all, your background info. Again, you can weave this. There's very artful ways to do this, and there's very sort of I don't know what to put, predictable. I'd like you to, surprise me with this essay. Be a little unpredictable with this essay. So, and I've tried to tie up, each part. I've tried to connect to each of the smaller assignments. Invention Journal 1, Invention Journal 3, Brainstorming Essay 2, your Digital Sabbath log. I guess that's kind of all this, Invention Journal 4. So, here are the things I want you to do. Section 1 is background. What was your tech dependence? You can read all these, but you got to tell me a little bit about yourself, okay? And then, of course, the main section should be about the Digital Sabbath. How did you plan for it? How did you unplug? And then really, what I'm really fascinated in learning is, what was your Digital Sabbath like? What ate up your day? Okay, how were you? Were you amazed with how much you got done? Were you super productive? That's a frequent finding. Were you super bored? That's another frequent finding. So where are you at? What happened during your Digital Sabbath? Okay, and what were your thoughts, feelings, reflections, activities? How was it different? How did your Digital Sabbath? How did it diverge from a typical day? And you can also ask yourself, how did it dovetail? How was it different from a typical day? How similar was it? So maybe I'll add that here. Different. If I could type today. More typical. All right. I'm not going to lie, this morning it was 11 below, and I ran 8 miles with my training group, and my fingers are still a little numb. You're allowed not to care. Okay, and then what was your replugging like? And did you reward yourself for having X amount of time off from technology? And if you did, how did you reward yourself? So a lot of that is sort of narrative writing, and it's a lot of sort of reporting. The real thinking part, I think, the real sort of academic consideration portion of this assignment comes sort of in section 1A. Now, I named this section 1, I've named this section A, and I've named this section 1A because I don't want you to think of them in terms of sort of sequences. So, reflection about technology, about things you've learned about yourself, about your priorities, your time management, your anything really. What did you learn as a result of taking this Digital Sabbath? So, what, if anything, have you learned? I always like this question. I hope you'll all answer this one. Will you ever try something like this again? And would you recommend a Digital Sabbath to anyone in your life, and why? Okay. So those are sort of personal, looking back, reflection type activities. You are all familiar with that from Comp 1. What I want you to also think about, though, is what broader social, societal, cultural forces and events have affected your Digital Sabbath. So thinking in that sort of macro, you're zoomed way in on your own personal experience, but I want you to take your experience, I want you to apply it to a broader society. So your experience is going to be similar to probably other people's. That's the whole nature of verisimilitude, reproducibility. Anyone can take a Digital Sabbath and probably learn something similar to what you've learned. So my question is, what does that say about not only yourself? The whole opening portion of this paper is about what does it say about you, but I also want you to think in a broader sense, what does it say about society, okay? Or what forces have created you to? Is it sort of impatience or accessibility to information or data? So what kind of questions do you have about those forces or events? So I want the end of this paper to kind of lead into the next essay, to the research project. That's kind of, if you think about how essay 1 hopefully led a little bit into essay 2, you observed other people using tech in order to more insightfully investigate your own tech use. And now, as you're investigating your own tech use, I want you to again to round out this assignment by looking forward to the next one, sort of springboarding to the research project, and what interest or questions do you have is a good way to start that conversation, have those sorts of considerations. So again, you have to use an outside source. I'm not going to belabor this point because I feel like I've emphasized it enough in my materials, but have at least one outside source in your SA2 final draft, excuse me. Okay, so let me bump this down here. And then general essay tips. Just because much of this is going to take on sort of a narrative form, many of you are going to start with the beginning and end with the end. That doesn't mean you should have a thesis statement. So make sure you set an agenda for your readers so that they can not be confused or surprised by any information. You want to kind of tell them what to expect. You want to forecast your paper in the form of a thesis statement. I say forecast, which almost implies it should appear near the beginning of the paper. That's not necessarily the case. I really don't care where your thesis statement appears. I just care that you have one. Please use detail. Okay, if you say, I read a book, that's interesting, but much more interesting to me is what book you read, how you read it, sort of the environment. I'm someone who likes to read with a little bit of music in the background, but when I take digital Sabbaths myself, that means no music. So I read books in silence, and it tends to, I don't know, it creates a slightly different reading experience. And then you can read the rest of this together, pull it all together, use a sophisticated vocabulary, be audience aware. Some of you are writing in a very informal way that needs to go away. Some of you seem to have unlearned some of the things I strive very hard to teach you in Comp 1. Use MLA or APA formatting. Let me fix that. See, proofreading, important, kids. Don't use both. And then Google Doc templates are always available. All you have to do for a Google Doc template is go to File, you go to New, and then you go down to From Template. I'll show you right here. If you're 12 minutes into this podcast, into this screencast, you can stick around for that. You type in MLA, or APA, of course, and then it'll give you a template that you can use. All right, and then carelessness at the sentence level. Please, please, please sweat the small stuff. All right. Once again, I had the nicest plans to make this a short screencast, but we're into the 13th minute now. So, as always, I welcome your emails. I welcome your feedback. These peer review weeks make me apprehensive, but also hopeful that many of you will improve, and also excited to see how much some of you help each other. Some of your comments are just so spot on. I feel like you're teachers in the making, if you want to drive a crappy car and not make a lot of money, that is. There's plenty of time for you to contact me if you have any questions whatsoever. But in the meantime, I will sign off for now, and I will wish you the best of luck in taking what you've learned about your digital Sabbath and putting it into essay form. So I'll be in touch, and hopefully you will be too. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.